Hey, it's Miles, a son of God again. Um, I just wanted to clarify something else within my video that I felt like I just needed to express a little bit more. From my last video about the seed in the field, right? So, you have a field, right, that is your own personal field, right? But when you are having a field that's a good field, that has good seed, everything like that, the good soil, it's not exempt from tares coming up, right? That's the one thing that you need to think about, right? It needs to have the root in it, right? It needs to have the proper faith in it in order for it to be a field where you can have the wheat come up with the tares. So that's what you gotta remember in this. Our fields, when even in you're truly in the faith, they will not be perfect, right? And when your wheat and tares are collected, right? Well, what happens is that there might need to be a replanting in your field, right? God and Jesus replant something. They might even replant the same kind of seeds, but there's a different process that you go through, right? So, let's say in this field, I brought up kind of the same process before, but you have a seed in your field of forgiveness and unforgiveness, right? And one of the first steps in the process, right, in this good field that you have, is that maybe the first step in that forgiveness is forgiveness for other people, right? So you got good seed of forgiveness for the people, and then you got some of the wheat. And you're working through that process, right? Some of the past resentments and things of that nature might get brought up, but you're trying to rely on God and Jesus through the Holy Spirit, which is them in you. Apologize, my throat's like all messed up now. But you rely on them to get through that season, right? And then when it's time to harvest, they collect the good, get rid of the bad, and then there might be a replanting in the new season, right? And then there's maybe in that season a different form of forgiveness, right? Well, what if it's forgiveness for yourself, right? So you've got a seed that is the forgiveness for yourself, and then you have that's wheat, and then you have a tare that is a seed for unforgiveness for yourself, and you have to rely on them to get through that process. So within this field, there's probably more than that obviously going on within your life and stuff. I like to call it, I've learned it kind of like in a way too in recovery. I like to call like one is the spiritual principles and the other ones are your character defects, right? But it's spiritual fruit versus, sin and lawlessness and stuff that just isn't healthy for you too in your walk. So this is what happens on the good seed in the good field with the proper soil. And what gives you that proper soil is being in the true faith. I'll reiterate it. I kind of wanted to keep this short and simple, but what is the good soil, right? You have to know who God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit is. That's how the soil is proper. It might sometimes, your soil or your field might look like others, but it's not really. So God is the Father. He's the only one that's God. Jesus Christ is his Son, his actual Son, and the Holy Spirit is the Father and the Son in you. And when you have that, you rely on that, you surrender to that, right? Fruit. Different seasons, different harvests, different processes of maybe that same spiritual fruit versus your character defect, if you want to call it that, you know? So I just wanted to express that a little more and get into that too, of like your field, like anybody who truly is in the faith, isn't some sort of perfection field, but what's cool is that they make something good out of it. They're able to do that for you. So just wanted to finish or express that as kind of a part 2 to the last video. So thank you.